Peace and power to the people. Until the people have power, there will be no peace. So peace and power to the people. I just want to talk about. I just want to talk about me for a little bit. The first time, and I remember this clearly, I was probably 2 or 3, in between 2 or 3 years old. My mom asked me, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" I didn't know what the question even meant. She said, "Do you want to be a fireman, a police officer? Do you want to be a teacher?" I forget what else she said, but I remember policemen and firemen. That's kind of a standard issue. What do you want to be when you grow up, kind of thing. And my first response was, I want to be a daddy. That's what I wanted to be. The first thing I wanted to be when I grow up. I wanted to be a daddy. And then, so I think my point is, first point is that that memory, that genetic memory of what people are supposed to do is innate in children. It's innate when we're born. We all know what we're supposed to do. And I'm not judging. I'm not putting this on. I'm saying humans would know that we want to be parents. Generally speaking, maybe not everybody wants to be parents, but it's in the genetic memory of humanity to reproduce. However anyone becomes a parent is the beautiful variety of life. And I honor that, however that looks. Then I became fascinated with this lifestyle, this drug lifestyle, this street lifestyle, pimping. When I was younger, I wanted to be a wrestler, but I didn't want to be a wrestler when I grow up. I just wanted to be a wrestler when I was young. That's what I wanted to be then. But at that point, when I wanted to be a wrestler then, when I grew up, I wanted to sell dope and pimp hoes. Straight like that. That's what I wanted to do. That's where my attention was. That's what had me, that's what I grasped onto. And it's kind of, it's a sad thing, and it's just like a reflection of the way society is. And I say probably 85. That was already what I wanted to do. I'm only 41, so that would have made me about 6 years old. You can ask people I went to school with. I had 3 and 4 and 5 girlfriends at the same time. We would all walk down the schoolyard holding hands together. We're talking elementary school. I'm not bragging. I'm just saying that I was very young. I was polluted. I was polluted very young. My thinking was polluted. I wasn't given, I wasn't provided with, I wasn't given the proper tools to navigate life. I've said this before, I've said this before, that you shouldn't lie to kids. No matter what you do, you shouldn't lie to kids. I know sometimes it's convenient, and a lot of times you think you're protecting them, but what happens when you lie to kids is you're not only doubting their ability to process reality, which instills self-doubt in them because they know it's a lie. They just don't know what the truth is. Kids know it's a lie. They just don't know what the truth is. So not only are you instilling self-doubt by doubting their ability to handle reality, you're also not giving them a true view on reality so that children are actually, so that child, I'll speak from my own personal standpoint, doesn't have an honest picture of reality. So you're not even dealing with reality anymore. You're dealing with somebody else's inability to tell the truth. Which, then what? Then the child lives in a fantasy. Then what happens is, especially knowing, like instinctively knowing that you're being lied to, you start to create these ideas. I think there's a word for it, I just can't think of it right now. When children who don't know put two and two together in their own way to make sense of something. There's a word for it, I can't recall it right now. So I lived in a place where my values, the values that I picked up, the values that I was attracted to, were predatory. We're talking about real pimps. We're talking about real dirtbag shit. Real dirtbag pimps like that. And because they look cool and they talk slick and they drove and they, you know, did the whole thing. That shit was cool as fuck to me. That little bit of nod, that half, that heroin glaze, that lowered eyes. That shit was cool to me because I can't tell you why I thought it was cool. I don't know at this point. I don't know honestly why I thought that was cool. So in fourth grade, there used to be in our elementary school, I don't know if anybody else even really tripped on it, but I did. There used to be empty baggies, you know, in Frisco, dope and especially weed and dope used to get put in little baggies, little gram bags. And something gave me the idea to go around the schoolyard, and so people must have been coming into the schoolyard and getting high over the weekend. So on Monday, I would go around. The first time I did it, I didn't tell anybody. I just did it on my own. I went around and picked up all the baggies. Some of them had little white, like whatever at the bottom. Probably most likely it was crack in the 80s. And some of them looked like they had little bits of brown weed in the bottom, like little residue and little white, basically shake from the dope. And I collected all the baggies, and when I was in class, I went up to the chalkboard and I scooped all this chalk dust. You know, the chalk dust that lands in the chalk tray at the blackboard. I scooped up all the chalk dust from the blackboard and I put it on a piece of paper and I took it back to my desk. I don't know if I scooped up all of it, but I scooped up a nice sized pile of chalk dust, put it on a piece of paper and took it back to my desk and proceeded to bag up the white powder, the chalk powder, into these baggies. Say what's up, buddy. This is in fourth grade. I bagged up all this, and I had a bunch of bags left. I still had bags left after filling up these little gram bags, whatever they were. I went up to the pencil sharpener, the old school pencil sharpeners on the wall, and I took the pencil shavings out of it, and I stuffed the sacks with the pencil shavings. So then I had these bags of fake. It was just a game. I had bags of fake coke and fake weed. And eventually, without even saying anything to anybody, I just walked around the school and said, "What's up? I got weed for sale. I got coke for sale." And it just was a game. It wasn't something that people went and snorted, or I don't know what the fuck they did with it. But I know one thing: some kids had money to go to that store at the end of the day and buy now and laters and eat dry top ramen and have sodas and Snickers and now and later and lemon heads and all the box candies that you could whistle into. And I didn't have that. I didn't have money to go buy that shit. So I wanted to hop over with all the cool kids and go buy some candy. So I started going around the school and saying, I got dope for sale, I got weed for sale, I got coke for sale. And the first day I did that, the first day I said, let me go to the store with you guys. And we all hopped over the fence. This was after school, before childcare, before the after school program, which was called childcare back then at that time. It was the childcare program, latchkey childcare program, something like that. And so when I hopped over the fence, I could feel how heavy my pocket was with change. So what I did was I just sold these nickels and dimes for just actual nickels and dimes and quarters. Just whatever kids had, I took the money and I gave them a bag of dope or weed, whichever they asked for. How much money you got? Okay, give it to me. Here's your dope. Here's your weed. I don't know what they did with it. Honestly, I wouldn't doubt some kids probably tried to snort the chalk dust. But this was a game. And when I got to the store and I picked up my Oriental flavor top ramen, I picked up some now and laters and maybe a little chocolate bar and some Boston baked beans or something like that, and a soda, and everybody was like, damn, everybody got a couple pieces of candy, some top ramen, and maybe a now and laters, because everybody was eating top ramen dry back then, like chips, and now and laters, or top ramen and some Boston baked beans or lemon heads. But I had a whole pile of candy and I put it up on that table, and when I reached in my pocket and pulled out a pile of change, everybody was like, damn, where'd you get that? And that's when I was like, well, this is what I've been doing. I've basically been selling dope in school. I made up a game. And I named the game Dope Fiend Dope Man. That was the name of the game, Dope Fiend Dope Man. And people would ask if they could play. So some of the cool kids, I'm not going to name names, but a couple of the cool kids, can I play? I want to play. So cool, yeah. All right, this is what we're going to do. Go get the baggies, and I'll make the bags, and I'll give them to you, and then at the end of the day, we'll see what we got. And that's what we did. Like, for real, that's what we did. And then at the end of the day, this was the funny shit. At the end of the day, we had the king of the school. We always had a king of the school at whatever era it was. There was somebody who was the king of the school who could probably beat everybody up or almost beat everybody up. And he and a couple other people went around to the kids who bought the dope from us and said, okay, it's the end of the day. The game is over. We need the dope back. So they went and actually recollected the sacks from that day from everybody, or as many people as they could find that they sold the dope to, that we sold the dope to, and we just collected it back. Because what happened was nobody was getting high in the schoolyard except for on the weekends. So by Tuesday, Thursday, Wednesday, Thursday, we didn't really have no more bags of dope left. So we figured, okay, we got to collect our dope back so we could resell it back tomorrow. And it just became a game. People would come up to me and, Johnny, can I play? And I would do shit like, and this is fucked up, I would do shit like, yeah, you can play, but you can't be no dope man. You got to be a dope fiend. If you want to play, you got to be a dope fiend. And man, imagine somebody telling you, if you want to be cool with us, if you want to be part of the cool kids, you got to be a dope fiend. You got to spend your money with us. Shit is crazy as fuck. So all my fucking middle school, I sold hella weed. I sold weed in middle school. A girl told on me one time. She started spreading rumors that Johnny's selling weed. John is selling weed. So I went up to the campus security guard who who was a baller at that time. He was a baller. And I was like, hey, bud, this somebody's going around making rumors up about me that I sell weed, saying that I got weed in my locker, which I did. I think I probably had 2.5 ounces in my locker at that time. And he was like, oh, okay, let me go. And he took her into the office, or called the office, and she ended up getting suspended for a day for making up the rumors about me, selling weed. So, mind you, I'm not playing by any rules. I know there's the code of the street and the code of the game and shit. Fuck that. When I was out there, it was no rules. If you heard of no rules, no dues, that's what the fuck I played. It was about getting up and getting over by any means, straight up. Now, I'm not saying I was no snitch, because I definitely was no snitch. But that right there, telling on the girl who was spreading rumors about me, could be looked at as a lightweight, dry snitch, even though she wasn't doing nothing but trying to tell on me. And I nipped her in the bud. Anyway, scandalous. Sold weed all through high school. Then in middle of high school, I started hanging out in the Tenderloin. I started hanging out with older kids, grown-ups, who would take me at 15, 16 years old, take me into the strip clubs. And I would go into the strip clubs and just participate. I would just sit there with my few dollars and just watch the shit and just see. And I'm just basically watching. I'm basically just like sitting back, soaking the whole shit up. And then one night he said, we're gonna go get some food. My partner said, we're gonna go get some food after this. And he took me to an all-night spot. And this all-night spot was like pimping headquarters of San Francisco. Straight the fuck up. It was pimping headquarters of San Francisco in the 90s. And that's where I got my first basically like initiation into that part of the game, to that part of the business. I'm not here to talk about that. But what I am here to talk about is that all I wanted to do was pimp. That's all I wanted to do, pimp and sell dope. And once I started selling dope to the pimps, I'm getting top dollar for anything I bring to the table. I'm telling you, when I was hanging out in that restaurant, I was helping the owner. I was helping him make milkshakes and shit. The pimps would tip. One would tip $5 in the cup. One of them would say, "Oh man, you cheap as fuck," and put a 10 in. Somebody else would say, "Oh, both of y'all cheap," and put a 20 in. Somebody else would come around and say, "Man, y'all cheap as fuck," put a 50 in. And then finally, of course, I'm not gonna mention names. I'm not gonna mention names on here about these pimps. But he would come and say, 9 out of 10 times, it was always him trumping everybody with that $100 bill in a tip jar for a $10 steak meal, $11, $12 steak meal. He's tipping $100 tip, just to look good and make everybody else look bad. When I realized I could sit there and not have to pimp and get their money, man, that was one thing that made me be like, fuck it. Why should I stress about whether or not, she's gonna bring the money back, or whether or not she's gonna get knocked? Oh shit, the coyote right now. Hold on, let me see if I can get a picture. The coyote right there. I don't know if you can see it. That's the coyote right there. That's my friend. That's my friend right there. What's up? Yeah, you know us. That's my friend. I don't know if you can see that. That's my friend. Easy. So once I realized that I could get the money from the pimps and not have to pimp, it was like, what the fuck? That was one thing that caused me to not like jump in both feet into the deep end with the piranhas and the sharks out there. And I'm telling you, when I say there was prostitutes in San Francisco, there was nights when there was 20 and 30 on each corner of the same intersection. We're talking about 4 corners with 20 and 30 prostitutes. It was thick. And that was only one intersection. That was right there at Leavenworth and Jones. One intersection that was that thick. Then you had the whole rest of the Tenderloin that was just riddled with prostitutes. I'm telling you, it was heavy back then. It was heavy. And then the one thing that really made me, and the pimps were like, yeah, what's up, Johnny? What's up? What you got? Let me get this, let me get that. And I was like, I was the man. I was the little dude out there, like, getting whatever I wanted out of these pimps. I felt like I was I was the one. And one day, one of these pimps is a well-known pimp, been in all the movies, all the documentaries. He came by, and he said, and the owner of the store was like, that fucking piece of shit. And I was like, piece of shit? That motherfucker's balling. He got hella women, right? And he was like, you see her right there? And I was like, yeah. He was like, that's his wife right there. And I was like, oh man, for real? Oh shit, damn, he got it like that? And he was like, you see her? And I was like, yep. He was like, that's his daughter. She was 16 years old. I was probably 16, 17. She was my age. He was pimping his daughter. He was pimping his stepdaughter. I think it was his stepdaughter. It was his bottom's daughter. And he called her his daughter. He said, that bitch is my daughter. That bitch. He was bad. And that really put a bad taste in my mouth about that business. And from that point on, I never wanted to participate in that side of it. I just didn't want to do it. I still sat down there and got money, but I didn't participate in that. That was just one of these things. It was a rude awakening into something that, not that I couldn't do it, but that I just didn't want to be. I didn't want to have that. Not that I didn't have the stomach for it, because I just saw somebody my own age, and he had his foot on her neck, like, rough, and that just turned me away from the whole thing. And that was just one example of one reason why I didn't pursue that as a lifestyle. They say prostitution is the oldest profession, but human trafficking is nothing to respect. It's nothing to look up to. It's nothing to aspire to be. And it's fucking sick. It's just one of these things that people take advantage of because they feel like they're getting over. They feel like they're doing something that, people want to get paid for doing nothing. I don't get that mindset. I really don't. Get some hustle. I'm just saying, get some hustle. Do something. You know what I mean? When I work my 8 motherfucking hard ass hours, people think union jobs are easy. Shit, union jobs are competitive as fuck. I work hard as fuck. If I worked at the same pace as everybody else, they said, my coworkers, oh, he's slow as fuck. He's shitty. He's slow. And then when I outwork them, when I outwork the coworker that I'm happen to be working with, or the coworkers that I'm working with, after they start talking shit about me being slow, then I show them what I'm about. Then they want to start acting like I'm the bad guy. So it's a no-win situation in my profession sometimes. But I just go and do my 8 hours, and I stick to my same pace. And no matter how much work I do, the fucking superintendents still come in and say it's not good enough. We're already doubling we already cut the estimated time in half, and it's still not good enough. So, you know, it's just one of these things, you know. But at the end of the day, when I put my effort in, I feel good about myself at the end of the day, regardless of whether, even though I know I'm being exploited, I still feel good about my own part. My own side of the street is clean. I'm not sitting here wasting my life away, acting like I hate what I do, because what I do is I perform my tasks with a sense of honor and love. So when I perform my tasks with this sense of honor and love and integrity, I guess you could say, I feel good about myself at the end of the day. Anthony B says in a song, it's called Raid the Barn. He says, I feel pleased when I take a little ease from a long, hard day of work. A sense of achievement to know I'm contributing, doing my part. Ooh, this is my comfort. I know there is a reward for every trying man who walks this land with an intention to do good for himself and every man. And this is meditation. So the reward for working hard is meditation. I had to think about that for a while. I'm like, meditation? How is meditation the reward? Then I later down the years, I put two and two together, which is prayer is speaking to a power greater than yourself, speaking to your God, speaking to your higher power. And then meditating is listening for the response. So when I have honor, when I carry myself with honor and integrity at work, and then I put my head to the pillow at the end of the night, what I hear in my mind's eye is good job, Johnny. Good job. Even though they don't appreciate you, you know you did the right thing today. That's meditation. That's the reward for doing a good job. Fuck all this financial shit. Fuck all this material shit, man. That's just gonna come and go. I think Protege says something like, you know, where there's the idea that you can't carry anything with you. Nothing belongs to you. Nothing belongs to you. Only thing belongs to you is how you live. That's the only thing you're gonna take with you. That's the only thing that you can own is how you live. On that note, let's try and do the best we can. You know, I said this before and I'm gonna say it again. There, you know, the serenity prayer says, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. I want you to accept the things you cannot change. And there's very little that I accept that I can't actively work to change. And I have the courage to do so. And I gain some wisdom in my efforts. Peace and power to the people. Until the people have all power, there will be no peace. If no one told you today, I love you. And if you don't hear it often enough, tell yourself. Because that's what really matters.